Shine bright like a diamond.
Right, welcome back, everybody. Well, I did tell you, these folks visited us just a couple of weeks ago, and they launched a very, very special program called Startup Weekend, which we went into the details of. With me is one of the organizers of that, Alvin Brown, and I've got to say congratulations to them. And of course, someone who came up very victorious, coming out of the land, well, the birthplace of fellas like myself and, of course, Giles and the Prime Minister, etc. A Southerner managed to cop something very, very important. But we'll go into the details of that. Let me introduce these men for you. And without further ado, Alvin Brown. Alvin, welcome.
Hi. Thanks
And
for having me.
I think it's the first time you're coming to our
Yeah,
set, right?
it's the first time.
You had two other representatives from your organization
Yeah, that's
who
right.
came in and describe it. And of course, we've got Chris Manohar,
Yes, hi.
right, who has developed a very special app that you'll be hearing about during the course of the morning period. Alvin, first of all, Startup Weekend turned out to be quite a success, didn't it?
Yes, it was. It was awesome. We had roughly 120 participants. It was over 54 hours, and it was the energy was intense.
What came out of it? Would you say that you achieved the intent behind it all?
Oh, definitely. The whole idea behind it is for you to create a company within 54 hours.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. So what we had three types of persons there. We had participants, we had coaches, and we had judges. So that at the beginning of the 54 hours, the participants pitched an idea, and then the other participants would have voted on it. And then throughout the 54 hours, they would have worked on that. Now, the coaches...
To develop a company and a...
To develop a company.
Develop and a concept.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So from concept to reality. And then the coaches were in finance, marketing, everything related to the business. And what they would do is they would have time slots where they would request each coach to speak to them about the business. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the 54 hours, they would have had input from a number of professionals.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the 54 hours, we had the judges who would listen to each business idea and then vote on that. And we're talking about judges like Brian McFarlane. Everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
So we had
If you don't know Brian McFarlane, then he would have been living on Mars for the last, say, 10 years.
Quite so,
Yeah.
quite so. So it was pretty intense. It was wonderful.
What's the intent behind it all, Alvin? Does it mean that this is... The partnership at the moment, the People's Partnership, are looking at creating a diversified economy. And we're looking to move away from the dependency of oil and gas, government doing less business and becoming more of a facilitator. Is part of this entire exercise to encourage what we call entrepreneurship and new ideas as part of the whole landscape of Trinidad and Tobago's capacity to create new businesses and create great opportunities for employment, for employers and employees, and more so employment, and creating new industry and new areas of trade in the country. Is that the intent behind all of this?
Yeah, you're quite right. Because at the end of the day, you can't build an economy without creating new jobs.
Yeah.
And the best way to create new jobs is by creating new businesses.
And new ideas.
Exactly.
Giving tangibility to new ideas.
So it's not just about having a store. It's about creating something that's sustainable.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that you do that is by innovation. So you have to use things like technology. You can't just be a consumer. So it's not about simply downloading apps. It's about creating apps.
Yes.
Which other persons will download. And in creating these apps, you create employment for other persons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is that the reason why Chris is here?
Exactly.
Can you introduce Chris for me? Yeah.
All right. So here we have Chris, who is one of the persons who had a very good idea.
Right.
And they came up in the top two. And
Top two.
yeah. So I'll let Chris take it from there.
All right. Chris Manohar is a Pfizer boy who came up. You came first or you came second?
We came second.
Or you came second.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about it, Chris, and how did the experience of what Alvin, this very special and really innovative, in itself, the whole idea is also an innovation. You're seeking innovation, but in itself, your idea was also an innovation.
Yeah,
And,
well-
I got to congratulate you. Where that's concerned.
Thanks, but let me clarify. Startup Weekend is an international organization.
Right.
So it's the first startup weekend in the English-speaking Caribbean.
Right.
But there have been a number of events throughout the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Splendid, splendid. Well, let's Chris, what was the experience like for you?
It was great because actually what we wanted to do was create a game development industry in Trinidad. So just like how we build software, we wanted to be able to build games, right? And we have a number of software companies like Telios and Magellan and stuff in Trinidad that shows that we have talent in Trinidad with respect to that, but none so with respect to games. And I mean, we all play games these days among our devices and PCs and so on.
I'm still at Pac-Man.
Yeah, we all know about games and we all enjoy them, but
Right.
you haven't really heard about, games, professional games coming out of Trinidad, right? Any game studio at all. So at UE, me and a couple of the other guys, we always had that passion doing the game development course at UE, at the DCIT and so on. So all the time before, we would continuously build games where we find ourselves having to wear several hats at the same time because, we know how to code.
Right.
But like in terms of marketing, business, sound, that was a problem. So what Startup did for us is that it allowed us to find other persons just like ourselves, but who had skills that were totally different from what we had. And it's things that we needed.
Right,
And-
right.
and
So they
that
could have
was-
supplemented what you wanted
yeah,
to do.
yeah, and like for the first time at Startup Weekend, I mean, it was almost like a Zen-like experience for me. Is that I could just sit and just worry about lines of code. I don't have to worry about where the art is going to come from, the sound, the marketing strategy,
Right.
this kind of thing. We had a lot of passionate young persons, just like ourselves, who they want to put Trinidad and Tobago out there, and it was really great. It was about a team of about 8 of us that actually worked on this over for the 3 days at Startup Weekend. And I think we're down to about 6 right now, and we intend to continue and release. So
What did you develop?
Oh, right. So our niche market is to present to build games that would put Trinidad and Tobago out there, but more so it's about selling the Trinidad experience and our culture.
Yeah.
So the first game that we built was something called Doubles Tycoon, right? And it's a game about wrapping doubles, because honestly, what's
Doubles Tycoon.
yeah.
Right, okay.
So, like, what's more Trinidad than doubles, right?
Right.
Once you hear doubles, like, if you Google doubles, the first thing you'll see is a delicacy from Trinidad.
Right.
So, what the game is about, it's selling the experience of a doubles vendor. So, you actually
Are you serious?
yeah, and it's downloadable
Okay.
on your tablet, Android devices only right now, right? So you start up the game, and there's a whole world where you start with your double stand back behind the gold back somewhere, and you literally make your doubles, and you put your bar, your chana, your pepper, whatever, and then you flip the phone to wrap it. Right?
Okay,
Yeah.
so is that it?
Yeah. So so you had it's a touch game, right? So you had to pull on the bar, the chana, whatever.
Okay, so you're just pulling and making doubles?
Yeah. For now,
So it's how fast you make a doubles, is that it?
yeah. So
And
it's
that's how you win?
Yeah, so this is the free play version right now, right? And if you notice on the other screen there's a lock by one of the sources. So it's a game in itself. So you need to go out there, play, buy, spend credits to unlock sources and things like this.
Right, okay.
And downloadable content. So the next version we have right now, this was just developed over the startup. So this
Right.
was just like 3 days work, right? So the next version we have is where you would get more of an exact experience of a doubles vendor. So you can have a bunch of people come in, it's rush hour, you have to remember people orders, they'll be like, yeah, give me an next one, 2 it's like.
So it's a doubles experience?
Yes.
All right, well, stick a pin in that, and when we come back, we'll expand on it. We got to take the news. So let's go to the news, and we'll be right back.